Hey everybody, welcome back to the Mike Gormley Show. So nice to have you here. We're on stations all over the place. We got three different stations now around in and around London, England. We're in uh what is it? New York, Philadelphia. There's a string of radio stations that's playing us on. We're very, very thankful for that. Um, and then of course on Spotify and all those lovely places that put music out to the world. Um, so we have with us today Anne McCue, who, while still has a very pretty Australian accent, has lived in East Nashville for a long time now, 15, 16 years, something like that, right?
Yeah, it might even be 17 years.
No, really?
Yep, can't
Wow.
believe it myself.
Before that, it was LA.
Yeah, I lived there for about 8 years.
That's a long time. You've been away from home for a long time.
Yeah, well, I left Sydney 40 years ago. That's where I'm from. And I've never lived there since. So
Oh, really?
it's crazy. I lived in Melbourne for 12 years and
Yeah.
Vietnam for a year.
Yeah, the Vietnam year was interesting. It
Hmm.
it just got you there because it was a gig, right? Somebody just said you want to play or something like that.
Yeah, it was another time where I was really broke and I had nothing going on. It's always in winter when that happens. And this Irish guy called me from Saigon or Ho Chi Minh City, and I was wondering if you could come over and play some jazz and blues. It's a very salacious living style. And I'm like, sure, I'll do it. And I had to get a passport. I'd never left the country before. And 2 weeks later, I landed in Ho Chi Minh City, and he goes, "Well," I got off the plane. I hadn't slept for 24 hours, and he goes, "Oh, by the way, we've got a gig in 2 hours." And I'm like, "Oh my!" But I got to play like 6 nights a week for a year, and that
Uh,
really made me more professional.
that's like Germany to the Beatles.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like Hamburg to the Beatles. They got to play a lot.
It's the best thing for a musician or a band is to just have a regular gig you can play over and over again because
Yeah,
it's like it's almost like taking lessons and building on there. It's amazing. I wonder if the Beatles had become the Beatles had they not done those gigs in Germany and had been
yeah.
forced to play that much.
I doubt it. I mean, it's weird how music works. You can practice and practice for 8 hours a day at home, but it's nothing like playing in public where you really become a musician. And they
So
were an incredible band together when they were so young.
in Vietnam, were you playing to Americans or was it Vietnamese
Uh, there was a
audience?
lot of expats, a lot of French people, some Vietnamese people. I had a Vietnamese band, and so it was a mixture, but mostly expats, tourists, Americans, and French and Europeans and
And
Australians.
were you playing your own material or cover or a mixture?
It was a mixture, yeah. A lot of my own songs, but it was the first time I really played covers as well. And it's the first time I played Lucinda Williams songs and stuff like that. The drummer was a big fan of Lucinda, and it was great just to play Pearl Jam or to play, something jazz or just whatever I wanted. It was a very good experience.
But Vietnam at that point was still kind of a hotbed of military and political upheaval and so on. I mean, it was still kind of going on, not full force when you were there, right? And was
Yeah.
that element there?
There was times when the army would crack down on the tourists. Like for the first while it was quite free and everyone just did whatever they wanted, and then you'd get a crackdown where the army was everywhere pulling up tourists on their bikes and all this stuff. But a lot of it was free, very free and fun environment.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was beautiful people.
And was it a year-long engagement, or just after a year you had enough and left, or what was that?
Well, I had different engagements while I was there, and plus I played at a lot of cafes, French cafes, and things like that, and on a boat and all this sort of stuff. And then my mother was ill, so I had to really go back to Australia. Probably good. I might have just stayed there and never been heard of again. So it was probably good I had to come home.
Uh, um, so anyway, that you're then in the United States, and now you're in Nashville. And Nashville, what has the Nashville music world? It must have influenced you just being there for that length of time, and those other musicians. It's crept into your music, do you think?
Uh, Not sure about that. I did try the co-writing thing, but not with strangers, just with friends. David Olney, John Hadley, Amelia White, and Simon Kerr and Tony Kerr. I just friends like that. I was never a Music Row person. I've never liked mainstream. I haven't liked mainstream country much for years, probably since Hank Williams. And um, I don't know, but the scene has changed because of people like me moving here or people who are here. Um, there's a lot now alternative music and jazz. There's a big jazz is getting bigger here and stuff that you wouldn't notice before, but now there's good venues for that music. So it's not all country music anymore, which is good.
It's no, it's much more than that,
Yeah.
but it's still such a music town compared to most cities that
Yeah, what's inspiring is the incredible musicianship of the
yeah,
musicians here. Like they're amazing, really
it's a
amazing.
tightly run town as well.
It was
Uh,
a very tight ship when I came, a little unfriendly and unwelcoming, and I know other people had experiences like that where you would sort of get blocked a little bit. Um, but you just keep going and eventually you find your own little niche.
is East Nashville where you live still, what's the word? I don't know. Nashville itself has become such a big conglomerate, modern Nash Vegas, they call it. But East Nashville was kind of a getaway from all of that. It was, is it
Yeah,
still that way?
yeah, it's still more bohemian and interesting. Um, so far, it hasn't, you know, the big tech companies are coming, which is a shame because they kind of ruined Austin, Texas, and
Yeah.
hopefully that won't happen here. It's actually the best town in the world for a musician to live, just because there's so many musicians and you feel like you're not an outsider.
It's also just if you're a touring artist, the proximity from Nashville is so much easier than one of each coast is farther from things.
Yeah,
But Nashville's right in the middle.
yeah, you can drive to so many cities from here.
Yeah.
It's great.
Are you going to start doing that again?
I will if I can manage it. I want to tour with the band, so I don't really want to. I did a lot of solo touring, and this album doesn't call for that. You know, it's a lot more of a band album, so I'm hoping to do that.
I think, did I just disconnect something? Can you
I
hear
think
me?
I can see your picture and I can hear you.
Um, maybe we. So we're going to listen to a song, or at least a portion of a song on the way out called The Loneliest Saturday Night.
Hmm.
It's a sad title. What's the story behind this
Well,
song?
hopefully it's uplifting because it's a Zen approach to loneliness, where tonight is Saturday, you're very lonely, but tomorrow is Sunday and the sun's going to come up. A lot of teenagers are very lonely, especially since smartphones were invented. Suicide rates have gone through the roof, and so I want people, if young people can hear the song, they'll realize it's just a few hours of this dreadful loneliness that I feel, and
Hmm.
everything will be all right tomorrow. And so that's sort of my approach to the darkness. Is it's one side of the light.
Um, were you feeling that way when you wrote the song, or was it just an observation?
I've felt I like most people. I've been lonely many much of my life, and especially on a Saturday night, if I'm not going anywhere and not doing something, I feel really lonely.
As Sam Cooke, it's another Saturday night and I ain't got nobody.
Exactly. It's one of the themes of rock and roll. Saturday night.
That's true. That's true. Well, let's step away for a commercial, and on the way out, we'll hear The Loneliest Saturday Night, and then we'll be back to the Mike Gormley Show featuring Ann McCue this week. Thanks for listening, everybody.